In this video, we will see the SQL commands for creating and modifying a table. I would recommend that if you have not watched the previous videos on this playlist where I have explained the concepts of primary key and foreign key and some other concepts related to the relational databases, so do watch them first. Okay, let us start now. So for creating a table, the basic syntax is as follows. You write create table, then the table name, and all the columns you write in parentheses along with their data types separated by a comma. And at the end, you write the table constraints. Table constraints include primary key and foreign key. And if you want to see the structure of a table, use this command, describe table name. Let us run it practically in MySQL Workbench. Suppose that we want to create this departments table which has three columns: department ID, department name, and HOD. So let's see how we do this. First of all, make sure that this database tutorial or whatever name you have given it is selected. Otherwise, if it is not selected, just use this command to select it. Use the database name. So now I have selected it. Okay. So now we can run our queries directly. So for creating a table, you know that the command is create table and then you give the table name. So the table name would be department, and then in parentheses you give the column names along with their data types. So here you have department ID, which is an integer, department name, which is a string. So we can give varchar 30. Let us say it cannot exceed 30 letters, and we can give HOD also as varchar 30 because it is also a string. Are we missing something? So yeah, we have not defined a primary key for this table. So for defining a primary key, just after this data type, you can write primary key. And also we can introduce some constraints, like if you want that department name should be mandatory, you cannot give null to department name. So just write not null here after this data type. Now let us see, let us run it. Now it is successful. Now how can I verify this? Is this table created or not? So just use this describe command, describe, and the name of the table is department. So use it. Now you can see that all the attributes of this table department are described. Is it a primary key or something? Everything is defined here. Also, you can refresh the schemas here to see that the table department is available here. You can just click on this button anytime to get the view of this table. So currently it doesn't have any data. We have just created the structure for this table. Now we have not inserted any rows or any data inside this table. Now we want to create this students table where we have the admission number is the primary key, and first name, last name, address, DOB, GPA, department number. These are the attributes, where department number would be the foreign key which would reference the department table which we created just now. And also notice that the admission number always consists of 8 digits. You can see here for every row it is 8 digits. So we can suppose that for every person it would be the same length. So we will use char data type for defining this admission number. Let's come to MySQL Workbench now. So we use the create table command, create table, and then the table name is student, and then we write this parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis, we include all the attributes name. So let us say it is admission number, which is a character type, which is at maximum length 8, and one is the first name. Let us say we can define it varchar 30, and let us say we have last name, which is also varchar 30. We have address, let us define it varchar 30. We have DOB, which is date, and we have marks, which is float. I know it's GPA, but let us give it marks for now. And we have department number, which is again an integer, and these many attributes we have. Also, we can write it as not null because department number is necessary for every student, so it cannot be null, let us say. And also for DOB, we can mention not null. So these fields have to be mentioned when you enter data into this table. Also, we need to mention the primary key. So what we can do is we want to make this admission number primary key. So one thing we can do, we can just write primary key here in front of this data type. or better to write the list the primary keys at the end of the table. So we can also write it in this way: primary key and then the name of the attribute in parentheses. So it is admission number. Why this syntax is helpful is because when you have multiple attributes as the primary key, so you can just put a comma and you can, let us say, first name is also a part of the primary key. So we can just write it after this. But here we have only one attribute as the primary key, so we can just define it like this. So foreign key similarly can be defined. Foreign key, then the name of attribute, so it is department number in this table, and references. Now the table name for which it is a primary key, so it references the department table, and what is the attribute name inside that department table? We can check it out from the department table. So it is department ID. So this attribute name would be department ID. Now it looks fine. Let us run it. So executing it is resulting in a successful execution. Now we can just again look at the structure of the table by using describe command. Describe, and the table name is student. So let us run it. And as you can see that all the attributes of this table student are present here. You can see that we have not defined any column for GPA and instead we have a column for marks. So this is a mistake done by us. So can we rectify it? Yeah, we can. We need to learn one more command, which is alter table, which can be used to modify the structure of an existing table. Let us see the syntax of that command now. Syntax is as follows. For adding a column to a table, just write alter table, table name, and then add column, then the column definition. Column definition means the column name and its data type. Similarly, for changing or renaming a column in a table, just use the similar syntax. Instead of add column, use change column. And for the column definition, write first the old name, then a new name, then the data type, whatever you want to modify it to. And for removing a column from a table, just use drop column and the column name after alter table. So let us now move to the MySQL workbench again and let us try these commands. For adding the column of GPA to this student table, just use the command alter table student and add column GPA float. So basically this will add this column to this table student. So let us run it. As we can see, it is successful. Now let us use describe command to just view the table again. So it is describe student. Let us see the result. And we have the GPA column added to it. Yes, it is added at the bottom. Now suppose we want to remove this previous column, which is the marks column. So for this we use the same alter table command. Alter table, table name is student. Now we want to drop this column. Drop column, the column name is marks. So just use it and let us see. Yes, it is again successful. Now again use the describe command to view the result. So describe command is describe student because the table name is student here. So we can see that the column marks is now removed. Now let us say that address, we want to make the data type as varchar 100. For this, again we use the alter table command. Alter table student change column. The old name of this column is address. So let the new name also be address, but we want to modify its data type to varchar 100 now. So let us see how it works. It is successful here. Yes. And now let us check it by describe student. So you can see that the address data type has changed to varchar 100. Now I hope you are clear with the syntax of create table, alter table, and you now know how to modify the columns of an existing table and how to create a new table. So now here's an assignment for you. Try it by yourself. So you need to create a table course with the attribute as shown in this table. Only you need to create the structure of the table. You don't need to enter this data. Also, you need to create a table enrollment with the attribute as shown in this table, and all the attributes should not allow null values. Similarly, for the course table also this applies, that should not allow null values. And for the second table, try to add the primary key and foreign key using the alter table command, and assume that the primary key is a combination of all the three columns in this table enrollment. And if you are stuck somewhere, you can see the solutions at this link. Once you complete the assignment, the describe course command should give you results something like this. Similarly, the describe enrollment command should give you some result like this. You can verify it. I hope doing these assignments by yourself would make you feel confident regarding the SQL syntax. And if you liked this video, do subscribe the channel. And guys, thanks for watching.